Hi, Mr. Corsi here. Here's a triangular prism. It's a three-dimensional representation of a three-dimensional triangular prism, and we've got various vectors represented by some of the lines in this drawing. First of all then, we're asked to express BC, that's the travelling from B down to C, in terms of the vectors u and t. So travelling from B to C, let's take an alternative route rather than the direct way. The only one that's going to be useful to us is travelling via the point A. So we go from B to A, followed by A to C. And that achieves the same destination. If we start at B, going to C, B to A, followed by A to C. Now what on earth does this represent? Well, BA, ouch, that went against the arrow, that's negative. So negative t, not t. Going from B to A represents negative t. Vector negative t. And then A to C, that's with the arrow, so that's okay, that's a positive thing, and that just represents the vector u. So BC represents negative t plus u, or we could turn it the other way round, u minus t. Think of the case where we've got negative 3 plus 1, that gives you negative 2, or we could say 1 minus 3. So long as the 1 is positive and the 3 is negative, so long as the u is positive and the t is negative. So BC represents u minus t. Let's look at the second part. M is the midpoint of the line BC. And this time we have to express MD in terms of TU and V. So we want, rather than a direct route from M all the way out to D, we want to take the scenic route. So looking at part A, we already know what BC represents. M to C would be a half of that journey. So let's go down to C first of all. Remember, we're trying to end up at D. We really have to involve U, so we'll go this way out to A. So that's C to A. And then we have to involve V, so that takes us out this line segment to D. So we'll use A, D. So there's the scenic route, travelling from M to D. We go M via C to A, and then out to D. So what on earth does all this represent? Well, let's look at MC. That would represent a half of what the journey from B to C represents. And we've already worked out what BC represents. It's U minus T. So MC represents a half of U minus T. Next, what does CA represent? Ouch, that went against the arrow. That's a negative experience, so it's negative U. And then AD represents V. We're going with the arrow, so that's positive V. Now, we need to simplify this. Let's get rid of the brackets. It's a half U minus a half T minus U plus V. Now, a half minus 1, a half U minus 1U will be negative a half U. There's minus a half T, and there's a plus V. So that's fully simplified. If you like, you can, so long as you keep V positive, you can write it as V minus a half U minus a half T. Either of these two versions would be okay. Now, one other thing, when I'm writing a vector V, I'm putting a line under it because vectors are identified by bold fonts. It's very, very difficult to write There's V not in a bold font. I'm pressing hard. There's V in a bold font. They look virtually the same. So we put a line under it to show that that represents a vector, and that V without a line would just be a normal variable. It represents a number. So that explains why I'm putting lines under all of my vectors there. But anyway, there you go. MD in terms of T, U and V. So that's Mr. Carsey signing out, and thanks for watching this video.